So welcome back. It's been many months longer than we thought, but it was a nice fall of sailing and we kept sailing and didn't work on the boat. But here we are at Fort Rachel, as you can tell by the lovely view. We're under our cover and happy to have it since we've had more snow already than all of last year. But what did happen is we got our pod changed out with our new B&G electronics, and we got the old one out. But the original plan isn't what happened. Not surprisingly, everything changed as we went. But in all, the end result we're pretty happy with. It's a little bit hard to tell how much easier it is to stand and see with this cover, but it's way better. And we had a little bit of rethinking when the Dodger and the Bimini came down and we were able to stand on the boat, and it just felt so much bigger. So we really wanted to go as small as possible, making this pod up so that really it didn't obstruct any more view than we needed. So as you can see here, we little wish it was a little taller back here. All right, this is a little less awkward. So as you can see, we stuck with the SR10, the 10-inch screen, which is actually 2 inches bigger than the screen we removed, but has way less bezel and is landscape instead of portrait. So the big addition that I didn't plan on doing was the Triton 2 Autopilot control pad. I hadn't planned on putting this here. I was going to put it elsewhere in the boat because you can control the Autopilot from the SR10. You can engage it, disengage it, pick modes, all that stuff. But I made a change right at the end because I don't like just controlling the Autopilot with a touchscreen. I find it, I don't know, unsatisfying to touch the screen and not know if it really put the Autopilot in standby right away or not. Whereas on this pad, I can hit standby and feel the button push and it's gone into standby. So that was a big change. It's something we still kind of push at Dockside for having controllers, especially with B&G and Simrad and Raymarine. They still have buttons on their controllers. Garmin's new controller has gone to just touch screen. So in that instance, why bother? You can just use your screen. But I do like the buttons. I like to know that when I push the button, it did something. But as you can see, the pod is way smaller, and we've gotten rid of the pod that was above it. We'll show those in a second. The other thing we did add is a new bow thruster controller. The old Westmar one was basically rusted right through. It's also enormous. So we made this one in-house. It's just a joystick controller from McMaster-Carr, and we made a stainless plate, which I don't know if you can see from that angle, but has little etched arrows in it that were laser etched in the shop. So they're fairly discreet. If we wanted them darker, we could run them over more and more times, make it darker, but we really got to the point where it was just time to get them in. I also added a little light under it. Just when the bow thruster is powered, not necessarily running, but powered, that light will be on. That way we don't forget that it's on or whatnot. More modern bow thrusters have your 2-button press to turn it on, and then it's on for like 6 minutes or something like that. This 2003 Westmar, that didn't exist then. So it's the way we did it. But there's the pod. You can see we still have plenty of handle to grab onto. All right, so a big difference here is that we removed our double bend pod, which would have sat like this. A little awkward in here. So you can see now it's a single bend, whereas this was the double bend. It had the big pod on the bottom and the instrument pod above it. We could have stuck with this and had our pod fit on here, but then the problem is that it's lower and it's still close to the compass. One of the big goals I had with this whole thing was to be able to see our compass standing or sitting. And putting this pod on here, which I tried, did not really give us a clear view of the compass. So we got a single pod that we had, or a single bend that we had in the shop. Already had a different pod on it, but luckily the whole pattern's matched up, which is pretty unusual. Only a couple extras, which I just filled with some silicone. We had to modify it a bunch of times to fit this Whitlock steering. We had to take a leg off of it because only this leg is straight up. This leg only goes into the steering gear, and then it's a separate piece that goes all the way down. So we had to cut this off. Then 15 runs to the shop to cut 1/8 of an inch off of this side and 1/16 of an inch off of that side and whatever, and then make it higher and lower. And then I decided that once I got the height right, I didn't like the bend. So then took it out again, took it over to Mystic Stainless and had them bend it more, about 15 degrees more. All said and done, I probably would have done less than 15 degrees more. I just wanted the thing a little bit lower, a little bit farther away. Maybe 10 degrees more would have been better. This is a little bit more of a bend than I wanted, but not enough to really do anything about it. So in comparison, new to old, here it is. You can see this was the RL80. So this screen is actually 2 inches smaller than that one. A lot more bezel, different orientation, whatnot. The bow thruster, there was a USB charger, and this was the RAM mic train. I've decided not to go that way with these. I'm not going to put the RAM mic or a charger in the pod because we want it small, we want it clean, and there's plenty of other places to put that stuff. And then there was a mystery button that neither myself nor the previous owner could ever figure out what it did. So there was this pod here, which if I put here for a moment, and then remember way back, and we even had the other instruments right above it. So it was a lot. So side by side, they were something like this. So you can see we removed a lot from the cockpit, gained a lot of visibility, and also got rid of a lot of stuff that we didn't need anymore. So going forward, it's not that I don't want instrument displays, it's just I didn't want them here. We're going to find a way to put them over the companionway. We'll do that in a separate video. So luckily, we were able to get a really nice suite of electronics here and put a small controller and a good sized MFD, which 10 inches is plenty in this instance. You're only standing, you know, 1.5 feet away from it, so you can see it very clearly. And as we saw in our last videos, you can actually see them at quite a distance. So I'm really excited for this new setup. It's going to be much more, you know, much easier to use. It's going to be more efficient for us, and also it looks a whole heck of a lot better. So that's a nice added bonus. So going forward, we're going to add instruments up forward. We'll talk about those at another time, but we also have a bunch of other stuff that's been going on the boat. So we have some predict wind installation coming up. We've done a lot of rewiring. About 8 5-gallon buckets worth of wire has been removed from the boat, and we've put in way less. But we'll get to all those in a future video. So thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time.